Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. And before we get to our first guest, it is great to see the interaction and the activity happening in the comments section. We've got people from other cities already rolling out the welcome mat. Karl Zhivkovic, he says Newcastle cannot wait for Sydney to take on the Macedonia up here for the Australia Cup. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. We've got Matt Jurcevic all the way, Pozdrav from Perth. Andrew Rastocic, Melbourne Knights to win the whole Australia Cup. Heard it here first. Well, if it can't be Melbourne Knights, hopefully it's one of the three other Croatian clubs. But go Knights. And from Brisbane, all the way from Brisbane, we've got Marta Eršegovic saying, "I'm on Melbourne, Croatia. Pump Lions club." Well done. It's good to see the brotherly support coming through in all of those comments. But Ante, it's time now for our next guest.
Yes, a guy who obviously leads the club by example, a fantastic captain, and the man who led, of course, Sydney United to the final of the Australia Cup, the first non-league team to ever, a non-A-League team to be in the final of the Australia Cup in 2022. The one and only Mr. ADRIAN Vlastelica. Welcome.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Adrian, great to have you on the show. Welcome back, because we did have you last year before that phenomenal run to the final. And, mate, it's still, I like watching the telecast tonight, or the show tonight of the on 10 Play. Andy Harper was going on even about what a great achievement that was, a memorable moment. I don't know how Devonport City strikers, though, factored as one of his most memorable moments, but he's
highlights.
And he is very, very emotional, getting the emotion into it. But speaking of the emotion, let's go back to that one day in, what was it, August, just before September last year. What a build-up, what a crowd, what an atmosphere. Not the result we wanted, but take us, mate, through the lead-up to that particular game, that Saturday night game. I know we had you and your dad on the show at varying times leading up to that. But, mate, when you look back at it now, do you still pinch yourself that, that crowd, that atmosphere, the build-up?
Yeah, I think I actually enjoy it a little bit more now than, leading up to it back then, looking back on it. I think back then it was just so focused on actually getting to the final and doing a job like on the Saturday of the long weekend of the Crow Tourney. But then after it was all done and dusted, it's still nice to, on the TV, go back and watch all the games from, starting with Monaro and then going to Brisbane, and then even the final I've watched back, like, to see the atmosphere and the fans and how passionate everyone was. It was just unbelievable experience, to be honest. Like the whole build up, the fact that Crow 20 was here, it was sort of like it all fell into place, minus not bringing home the trophy. But I think the club was the real winners, and the fans and the community to be back on that national spotlight after what do we say, 25 years? Call it maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something like that.
It was magical, absolute magical run, and the team should be very proud of that. Adrian, tell us, Broadmeadow Magic, what do you know about them?
To be honest, I know that I've just done a quick Google search. They're coming third in their competition, but we know the Newcastle competition is quite strong. They get a lot of ex-Jets boys and Central Coast guys drop down in that competition, and they've been in around the 32 a couple of times. I've watched them against A-League teams and whatnot. So it's not going to be an easy trip away from home, but I'm sure the gaffer will be heading up there for a day trip in the next couple of weeks to watch them play, knowing him.
I've heard that both Sydney United have made 7 out of the 9 competitions, and Broadmeadow Magic have made 7 out of the 9 competitions. And so they're the two most successful teams out of any non-A-League teams to have made so many appearances in the round of 32. So there you go. That'll be interesting. So, I hear that they've got a little ground of about 3,500, so I'm sure they'll be selling Chivapi at their ground. And Are you hoping for a midweek match, or are you hoping for a weekend match, or can you switch something?
Yeah, don't really mind either. We seem to play better on a Wednesday night, so maybe we'll just have for a Wednesday night match. But yeah, whatever it is, we'll be prepared, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of travelling support from Sydney. And I know the Croatian community in Newcastle, thanks to our good friend Carl, is doing good things with Newcastle, Croatia, and Josep and all those boys up there. So I'm sure they'll be down to support us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I don't know. I assume there's a pretty big Macedonian community up there as well. So no doubt there'll be a big crowd, and we expect that, and we can't wait. And this is what we kind of really look forward to, and that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, we did have a little bit of a negative thing with the Australia Cup, with the fans and the press and all of that kind of stuff. And the clubs really worked hard off the field just to how can I best describe this? Is to make things right, both with the fans, with the clubs, with the federation, this and that. How hard has Sydney United worked behind the scenes that we're not aware of really, not improving its image, because we've got a great image, let's face it, but improving our image in the eyes of other, let's call them, I don't know, non-Croatian community clubs and organisations and things like that?
Yeah, look, I think we should be proud of everything that this great club has done.
100%.
Producing Socceroos, to producing other internationals, to bringing Croatian internationals to play here for guest appearances or whatever it may have been. And for whatever reason, we always seem to be portrayed incorrectly in numerous times, in my opinion.
Do you think it's a bit of jealousy, guys? A bit of envy?
A bit of everything, I think. But I think the club's worked tirelessly to sort of remove that negative press and just show what we're really about, because we have the best fans, we have the best support. We, every week in the NPL, we probably have the most supporters in the comp. So it should be celebrated what we did last year, and, not tainted in any way, shape or form, in my opinion. So, but yeah, look, they're working hard. They've done numerous things that just to help the club, I think, is the best way to put it. Not any other reason, but to help us, again, get in that spotlight, hopefully.
Let's return to more pressing matters, football matters, on the field matters. And sorry, Auntie, you're going to say something?
No, I was going to say, Adrian, of course, after that great cup run, which was spoken about earlier, you actually got a bit of a taste of A-League football. And tell us, did you enjoy that? How did that all come about? And you ended up playing against Celtic and Ange Postecoglou and all that. So tell us a bit about your time at Sydney FC.
Yeah, I think on the back of the great cup run, really that opportunity came about. So we obviously finished on I think it was the final was. The first week of the A-League was the following week, and Alex unfortunately went down injured. And then a couple of days later, I got a call from Paul Reed and then Steve to see if I was, fit and injury-free, and if I wanted to come in for a bit. They weren't sure what was happening with Alex, so I trained for about 2.5 weeks. They were happy with what they saw, and Alex unfortunately had to have surgery. And then from there on, it just everything went real quick. It was a fantastic 3 months. They all the boys there were unbelievable, the coaching staff as well. To be fair, the whole club, they helped me get through everything. And yeah, I can't say a bad word about them, because it was a fantastic experience. And as a kid, you've always wanted to be a professional footballer, so to tick it off was awesome. And like to play that game against Celtic and win, it was just massive, just unbelievable.
You were phenomenal in that game. You had a really great game, let me tell you. You should watch that one over and over again, let me tell you.
Yeah, I have watched it.
Good to see. Good to see.
Now, obviously, it was a big year last year, culminated with that stint in the A-League for yourself, Adrian. This year, things haven't gone as according to plan, and they all often sort of say after a big, grand final or something like that, a big achievement, the following year things sort of just bottom out. Unfortunately, that's been the case this year. Mid-table position, but doing very well in the run in the Waratah Cup and now in the Australia Cup. what's happened that things aren't going so well in the actual league?
I think it's a bit of everything, to be honest. We've had this year. We started quite well. I think we won 4 out of 6 to start the season, or something. Started really well.
Yeah.
Then we dropped off for a middle period, where I'd say we were actually unlucky. We had a lot of 0-alls, 1-0, close games where we had chances, we didn't take them, and either, like, I know Sydney FC last time we played them, we ended up losing 1-0 in the 94th minute, but I think that game could have been 4 or 5-0 if it wasn't for a young Croatian boy on the other side of the field, Adam Pavlicic, who made, I think, 3 or 4 unbelievable saves, and I said, Pava, like any other day but today. But yeah, we sort of had a middle period like that, and then to top that off, sort of, we had a lot of injuries, and we still sort of do. I'm sure Ante will tell you every week. It's a new lineup. Boys missing, key players. Someone like Leroy Jennings, who we signed as a sort of a big off-season signing, had an unfortunate injury at work and hasn't played in 10 weeks, something like that. So it all sort of, yeah, it's been tough. But in the cup, we know that's do or die, and I just think we get up for it. We do every week, but it's just been falling for us. We've been taking our chances, and yeah, it's just good to be in and amongst it there, which unfortunately aren't in the league at the moment.
Now, Adrian, take us back to one of the qualifiers. We're in North Turramurra, and the lights are about to go off, and you turn around to me and say, "Hey, I'm not coming back tomorrow night for penalties," and then you score this immaculate. Is that one of the best goals you ever scored, or what? I mean, you saved us from coming back to North Turramurra on a Wednesday night, let me tell you.
No, definitely the best goal I've ever scored. I don't think I'll get close to that. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, we played the footage a few weeks ago. It was about, 35, 40 yards. You just pinged it, banged it straight into that top corner. It was immaculate. What a goal. And
I had an early start at work as well. I was like, we need to get out of here.
That was didn't want to sleep in. Well, Adrian, we'll go back to that ladder. Here's the ladder, and obviously Friday night we've got the game up at Sydney United Sports Centre, but it's actually quite close. A win here, and things will make it really, really interesting. To the point that you'll be just 2 points behind Sydney FC, who are in fifth spot at the moment. So even though you've kind of said, you've had a few hiccups here and there. Nonetheless, and Sydney United are renowned for doing this at the right time, peaking at the right time, coming into the finals. It's a very experienced mentality. Oh, it's an experienced squad that has that mentality. How are things at the moment? Are they looking like they're going to go head down that way? Are there several players that are coming back from injury and things like that?
Yeah, so we just, like you said, the competition is tight. You put 2 or 3 results together, and you could be looking at 4th spot, or catching 3rd spot even. Like, it's funny. It's weird how it works.
Yeah.
Rockdale lost 6-0 one game, and then before you know it, they're top of the league, and then they lose a couple. And teams of Marconi have done the same thing. So just getting a bit of consistency. If we put 3 or 4 results together, like you said, you climb that table real quick, because everyone seems to beat everyone in this competition. Like, it's real weird. Yeah, we got a couple of boys slowly getting back into it. Taisai, our Japanese import, everyone would remember from last year. He had a bit of a hip flexor injury, so he's played off the bench a couple of games in the last couple of weeks, minutes here and there, but he missed a month. Tariq Mayer played his first minutes in, I think, about 9 weeks in the 20s on the weekend, so it's good to have Tariq back. Everyone knows what quality he brings, and he scores goals and the whole lot. Patrick Antelmi, hopefully he's back this week. He only missed 1, but he's another important player for us. And then there's still Leroy Jennings, who we're not sure how far away he is. So hopefully the aim for him was to be ready for round of 32, if he can get the clearance from all the professionals he needs. And I think, unfortunately for Jason, I'm not sure how his ankle is, but his season could be over, just depending on, he had a major surgery. So, but yeah, boys getting there slowly.
Yeah, we've had Daniel Nizic on the sidelines, and it was good to see new keeper Luke Tuckett have a bit of a blinder and clean sheet on the weekend. Yeah, I heard he made a spectacular save just before halftime.
Yeah, he didn't have much to do, but when he did, he made a top save, and I think that's the most important thing for goalkeepers. I'm sure everyone you hear in Europe speak, they say goalkeeping, when you're not doing much, is the hardest because you're called into action in the spur of a moment to pull a big save off, and that's what he did. But yeah, he was much more confident in himself, and I'm really happy for Luke because he's a top boy, and yeah, he's learning a lot, and yeah, he's starting to speak more and help us, and to pull off a save like that, kept us in the game, and really, another game of missed opportunities for us.
And the rumours are swirling that Daniel Nizic is going to MacArthur. You don't have to confirm or deny, but the rumours are very loud. They're getting louder by the day, right?
Yeah, I can hear the
All
echo
right, don't
too.
say
I'm not sure.
Now, gents, we have a lot of people listening to our show, a lot of Croatians and a lot of non-Croatians as well, which is fantastic. And one of those is a fella called Brenton Ray, who down in Victoria, he's known as the New Scoop. What this man doesn't know, he's got the inside info on everything, and he's a loyal listener of and viewer of the Football Out West show, our sister program. Brenton's just come up with some interesting information. He says Broadmeadow Magic versus Sydney United to be played likely Wednesday, August the 9th, due to Broadmeadows Magic have NPL games scheduled August the 6th, and games can only be played on days off during the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup is on. Now, whether that's true or not, but that's the scoop. And when Brenton says something down in Victoria, it's usually true. So there you go, Adrian. Hopefully you've got your wish come true, and that is a midweek game on a Wednesday night up there. But if that was the case, would you guys take the day off work and go up there, early in the day, or would you sort of go straight after work and try and hoof it up the highway and all that kind of stuff? What do you think, Coach Miro, your dad, would sort of kind of insist on?
I think for a Newcastle trip, seeing it's a good 2.5 hours, it might be leave around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock maybe. Like, you don't want to be sitting around in Newcastle either for hours on end, but you don't want the pressure of leaving too late and then copying traffic or you don't know what on the M1. So I'm saying, probably just leave around lunch. I don't know. I'd have to find out. I don't think it's an overnight trip, so that's unfortunate. But I think it'll just be a day off work or.
You'll have a party bus.
Just don't want.
You'll have a party bus if you win, right, on the way back, and I'm sure
there'll be. Oh no! Look, on the way back, they'll probably end up being hijacked by the Newcastle Croatia crew who are saying that they're going to have the club rooms open before and after the game. But you wouldn't want to. You wouldn't want to ring up and pull a sickie because your boss probably then turns on the TV and sees. There's ADRIAN VLASTELICA playing, soccer in Newcastle, and he was meant to be sick today. No, you definitely want to use a what do you call it? An annual day pass or annual leave.
Yeah, no, I'll sort that out. I'm sure most of the boys for these games, everyone's up for it. Everyone's excited. So whether it's a day off, need the day off after as well, probably.
Yeah, Adrian, you mentioned the injuries earlier on, and of course, this is the first time that New South Wales have gone to a 30-round season, which makes it 8 weeks extra than pretty much what you played last season. How is the team? I mean, there's no finals to play for as well. We're mid-table. I mean, is there still that passion and that sort of thing, or we've got nothing to play for? Let's focus on the cup.
No, I think it's about trying to build consistency and build towards a cup, sort of what we did in the back end of last year. So manage minutes, manage players. If you're fit and good to go, you go and just try to get that form right for the cup games. And it seemed to work for our cup games leading into this. Like, we've played, I'd say, pretty well in all our cup games. We've only conceded 1 goal, including the semi-final of the Waratah Cup. Against, obviously not all NPL 1 sides, but Northern Tigers, not an easy place to go. Hakoah, not a bad side either. And then Spirit, who obviously beat us in last year's Waratah Cup. Had a 2-2 draw with them earlier this year, but I think that night the ball went in the net, but it didn't want to go in that night either. I think we hit the post 4 or 5 times, Ante, from memory.
We did,
so-
yes, we did.
But yeah, look, I think it's just there's definitely motivation because we want to win. You never go out to do anything bar win. Or that's especially my mentality. I hate losing. So, but it's just playing yourself into form for the cup and everything else. So hopefully, and again, we don't know who we're playing, but the Waratah Cup final, we've got that to look forward to as well.
Yeah, that's right. The other
definitely
semi-final
a big
was
season.
cancelled tonight, so for some reason. So yeah, we're waiting for those opponents.
Yeah, Adrian, it's been a pleasure chatting to you. Hopefully, we'll be getting you on the show a little bit later on in the year.
One last question, please, Daunchy.
Yeah, definitely, Auntie.
Is there a curse against these A-League clubs? I mean, geez, we tend to struggle against MacArthur, against Wanderers, against Sydney FC. I mean, geez, some of the results over these past couple of years, are they just hungry because they're younger and all those sorts of things, or they lift against us? But it always seems to be, a difficult match against them.
Yeah, we had a running joke a couple of years ago about these A-League teams. I don't know. It's just
good question.
It's like they've put a spell on the goal or something, and on the wrong end too. All our heaviest defeats in the last 3 years, even 2021 when the season got cancelled, and I think we're top of the competition at that point. I think we lost 5-0 to MacArthur that day. It was 5-0 after 25 minutes or something. It was just bizarre results against these guys, and I can't put my finger on it because if I could, I tell you what, I'd reverse it real quick because it does my head in.
Well, speaking of
this Friday night you can reverse it. Okay. At home,
speaking of reversing it, sorry guys, but Sydney United are going to lose to Sydney FC this Friday. That's my Rika psychology, and mark my words, that the result will be different. No, Sydney FC are going to win. Sydney FC are going to win. All right,
it's reverse psychology.
Let's see if it works like it has worked in the last few weeks. On that, I'll become like the little golden Buddha. Everyone will be rubbing my, belly and saying, "Can you please, give the mock against the other team?" Yeah. Adrian, on that note, wishing you all the very best, not just for this Friday, but for the rest of the season, and indeed that date in August in the Hunter Valley, in Hunter region, for the Australia Cup clash against Broadmeadows Magic. Should be a ripper, that one.
Thanks, Tonchi. Thanks, Auntie. Appreciate having me. And, hopefully be back here soon speaking to you guys. And thanks to all our fans and everyone who tunes in and the Croatian community around Australia.
Absolutely. Well done. Good on you. So Adrian Vlastelica, the captain of Sydney United, a gentleman of a bloke, a legend as well. And he's a damn good footballer as well.
No, he represents the club so well, both him and his father. Incredible.
Yeah.